10 playing cards in 2018 paved the way for a brand new, exciting and exclusive product that completely changed the way that people practice parkour. A product that took only 11 long, grueling months to take from idea to item, and like parkour itself, allowed people to play in many different styles. Well, to look at the individuals who grinded to make this a reality and to share just how they did it, this is GAMIFY, the story of the UKEMI Playing Cards. Before we delve into the history of the cards themselves, we need to look at the tracers involved in their creation. Daniel Smith, David Banks, Tim Pearce, and Sam McFarlane. Daniel, David and Tim all met in Aberdeen in 2006-2007 and quickly became lifelong friends both inside and outside of parkour. All three had the combined interest of creating a parkour organisation that wasn't film or coaching related, and in 2018 they had the push that they finally needed to make this a reality: the Youth Urban Games. The Youth Urban Games was Scotland's first ever urban sports festival, celebrating and showcasing different sports such as parkour, BMXing and skateboarding. David was asked to help design and run the parkour section of the event. But to do this, he needed an organisation to do it under. So he, Tim and Daniel created UKEMI, a company focused on promoting activities and environments through design and community arts. The Youth Urban Games, or YUG, was a huge success with over 200 participants and 15 high-level athletes. Now this took place in September 2018, 7 months after the metaphorical playing card wheel had begun to turn. It all began with Sam McFarlane, a tracer from Glasgow who is renowned for his gamification of parkour. Having been training for a long time, he was well aware of the trials and tribulations that come with parkour, mainly the ones that are self-inflicted, such as motivation. In an attempt to ensure that he and others' motivation was always high, he started to create different parkour games that could be incorporated into classes and training sessions to keep them fun and unique. One of these involved a simple card game, where you had 10 playing cards and each card represented a skill or a move. The cards would be face down on a surface. You would turn one over, then go and complete that move or skill as many times as stated on the card. So if you turned over a 2 of hearts and it had Kong Vault written on it, you'd have to complete 2 Kongs. This would then progress to challenge cards being added in, so you'd have to do that movement that many times but with a restriction, so for example being blindfolded. After seeing this in action, David was intrigued, and not long after, Sam and UKEMI were working together to create the first ever official parkour card game. The first draft that UKEMI and Sam came up with was that there would be 3 main card types: movement, condition, and wild card. The movement card would be a move or a skill such as a vault or a flip. The condition card would dictate how you would do that move, i.e. one-footed. The wild card was an extra condition that was a bit more, well, wild, like being only in your underwear or using a certain obstacle. However, having decided on the cards themselves, they now needed a way to actually play the game. So they decided that the main aim of the game was to get 10 points as quickly as possible, and the person who reached 10 points first was the winner. Each card was worth 1 point, and each player can choose 1 movement card and as many condition or wild cards as they'd like per round. If they successfully completed each challenge, they would get a point per card. So throughout the game, you could just choose 10 movement cards and get 1 point per round. Or you could choose at least 1 of each card and get 3 points per round if you were successful. However, this in itself was too easy and simple, so it was decided that you would have the same number of attempts as the number of cards that you had. If you failed any attempts, then you would lose a potential point. So those who had chosen just 1 movement card in each round would only have 1 attempt to get 1 point. Those who had 1 of each card had 3 attempts, and if they failed, they would lose a point, and so on. Slowly but surely, more game styles emerged, such as blind, mega match, and add-on. Rules for these can be found on the UKEMI website, which I'll link in the description down below. So with the card types and rules figured out, there was only one step left: design and produce. And now for something that I have never done before, a giveaway. UKEMI Project have been kind enough to send me a fresh, unopened pack of UKEMI cards to give away to one of you lucky people watching this video. To enter, it's fairly simple. All you need to do is be subscribed to this channel, follow me on Instagram or Facebook, and then comment below giveaway in all caps along with your Instagram or Facebook username or tag. And that's all you need to do. However, this giveaway is only available to those in the UK, that being Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. That's all. Now back to the video. It was at this point that Daniel and David moved to Rotterdam temporarily. Despite the move, the whole team still worked incredibly hard for a design style that they liked for the cards. They explored examples using Laban dance notation, singular objects, cartoons, and photos. Finally, they decided on a combination of photography and graphic design. So to make this possible, a crowdfunder was set up to try and reach £10,000 so they could hire photographers, high-level athletes, professional illustrators, and to cover the general marketing and creation costs. After what seemed like forever, UKEMI had finally managed to raise £1,499. A massive blow to their plans. The only solution? Well, severely cut the costs. So began the task of reaching out to the Scottish parkour community and begging them to send in photos of all the different moves. My co-coach at Ignotus Parkour, Sam Gillespie, is actually on a card, believe it or not. Hours were spent taking different quality of images into Photoshop and tweaking them to how they wanted them to look. Aesthetic and design were the key priorities for the UKEMI cards. With the images complete, the only problem left was to find somewhere that would print them, ensuring they maintained their quality but were also robust, unrippable, and waterproof. Eventually they were printed exactly the way that they wanted, minus the slippery nature of the cards and the fragility of the box. And parkour organizations from across the world helped test the card and the game. In mid-January 2019, the UKEMI card game was officially finished and released for public purchase. 1,000 packs were created, and to this day, less than 100 remain. The cards are often used at classes, jams, and training sessions all over the world, and since then, a breath of fresh air has been released into the global parkour community. Sure, the terminology may be different to many communities, but the moves themselves are recognizable and the rules fairly easy to understand. So from 10 simple playing cards with scribbles on them to a high quality parkour card game that is recognized and utilized all around the world, that is the story of how David, Daniel, Tim, and Sam created the UKEMI card game. Thank you so much for watching this documentary on the creation of the UKEMI card game. Thank you to David Banks for helping me gather all the information I needed for this documentary and for sending through the UKEMI cards. Make sure you don't forget the giveaway where I'll announce the winner in 2 weeks' time in my next video, where you'll also find out the answer to one of the most important questions surrounding parkour. See you around.